Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Ask Coach Marie. I'm Marie O'Neill, founder of Padma Life Coaching, and your host on this series. This is the place where you ask a question, and I give my unique opinion as a life renewal coach, astrologer, and past life regression facilitator. Please know that I'm not a therapist, and I will never tell you what you must do. Each week on Fridays, a new video is released with me answering 2 questions from the viewers. In addition to those 2 questions, I also talk about various other life renewal topics. Let's go ahead and get started with the question for this week. All right, our first question comes from Liam, who is in Madison, Wisconsin. And Liam writes, I have many friends and acquaintances, but most of my connections are superficial. I crave deeper, more meaningful friendships. How can I start cultivating that? That's a really good question, Liam. And there's a lot of ways that you can do this. The most important thing is that you have a desire to create more meaningful connections, which means that you're going to actually do it. You're going to do what is necessary to cultivate deeper friendships. With the people that you're friends with now, pick 1 or 2 of them who you feel you'd want to cultivate a deeper relationship with. Maybe there's something about them that draws you to them, or something that you like and that you want to explore. When you're cultivating relationships with someone, you of course need to be curious about their life and what's going on with them. If you can maybe ask questions about their life to draw them in, to have an honest conversation about something that is not superficial. This goes a long way to developing a relationship with another person, because they need to know that you actually care. And when I say they need to know you actually care, you really do need to actually care. It can't be just to have a conversation. You have to be more curious. You want to also cultivate relationships with people who have some of the same interests as you. And that goes a long way. If you're there for people when they need you, when they're in trouble, I got to tell you, that is one of the best ways to cultivate deeper relationships with people. So being curious, asking questions, picking 1 or 2 people who you want to get closer to, those are ways to cultivate deeper relationships. Write a note to me and let me know how you're getting on and how it's working for you. The suggestions are working for you. Put a comment below. All right, let's move on to the topic for today, which has been inspired by the previous question that was asked by Liam. The topic is deepening connections and meaningful relationships. When we are going to do this, when we're going to deepen our relationships with people, it means that we're opening our heart. If there is an issue with opening your heart to someone, that is going to make it much more challenging to deepen relationships. It also means that you have to be vulnerable. I'm not saying being completely vulnerable, but you're allowing someone else into that deeper part of you. And when you allow someone else into that deeper part of you, that gives you more of an opportunity, or you increase the chances of the other person opening themselves up to you too. Being vulnerable can be challenging for most of us, because who wants to get hurt? Nobody does. And at the same time, if you want to have a deep relationship with someone, the only way to do it is to be vulnerable, and also to be curious about them. And as I said to Liam, being there for someone who is in trouble, not just in their good times, because you really find out who your friends are when you need help. If you can find a way to be vulnerable, or at least risk being vulnerable to someone, that's going to go a long way. Now, you also need to be discerning with who you're being vulnerable to, because not everyone is open to you being vulnerable with them. See how you're being treated by other people. If they are treating you with respect, if they're honoring who you are, if they're curious about who you are, if they're being vulnerable with you, then that goes a long way with you knowing that you can be vulnerable with them. You want to not necessarily be completely vulnerable at the outset, but maybe talk about something that is bothering you and you want their advice, or you want to just discuss a particular issue with them and see where it goes. See what type of help you get, how, if they're able to keep your secrets, because when we're being vulnerable with someone, you also need to trust them. And to trust them means that they have to earn that trust. And what I'm saying here is, if you're going to be vulnerable with them, you want to check to make sure that you can trust that they're going to be able to not only give good counsel, but also not spread your business out into the community. That's really important. And if they do spread your business out into the community, then you know that they cannot be trusted, and you're not going to be able to build a deeper relationship with them unless something happens and you have a conversation with them and let them know that you don't appreciate what they did. But that's a whole nother subject. We all want to have deep relationships with at least a few people in our life. Now, I do know that some people feel that they're able to do this through social media. My opinion on this is quite different. I believe it's very challenging to build a deep relationship with someone through social media, because you're working with them with words that are print. You're not actually in front of them. You're not even on video with them. You can feel a connection with someone on video, but it's much better if you can meet them face to face, or talk to them on the phone, or on Zoom at least. I think you can develop really close relationships with people on the telephone who you never met. Or even if you're conversing with them via email, you can build deeper relationships with people. But with social media, I do question that. I'm not saying that it can't be done. I am hearing that people are doing it that way, building deep relationships with people via social media. But as I said, I wonder about that. I'm not going to necessarily rule it out, though. Anyway, that is the topic for today. Please write me and let me know what you think. Comment below or send me an email. Our last topic for today, or our last question for today, comes from Brenda, who is in Charleston, South Carolina. And Brenda writes, there's a person in my volunteer group who is constantly negative and complaining. Their energy really brings me down, and I have to interact with them regularly. How can I protect my positivity around them? Thank you for that question, Brenda. There's a couple of things you can do when you're having to interact with someone who is completely negative. Number one, when they start being negative, you can always counteract what they're saying, rephrasing it in a positive. The most effective way, however, is going to be to have a conversation with them and be honest, be open about what they're saying. Maybe they are not even aware that they're being negative. Usually people aren't aware of the fact that they're being negative. They're also not aware of how their negativity is affecting other people. So having a kind, compassionate conversation with them, letting them know how you feel about what they're saying or how it's affecting you, and asking them if they can shift that. It's not that we don't have issues that bother us and that we don't need to talk about periodically. We do. We always have something that is going on that we want to talk about. However, if there is a solution to a problem, you want to discuss the solution and implement the solution with the person. You do not want this to keep going and going and going where they're just talking about the problem. What are they getting from talking about the problem over and over? It is not resolving the issue. And this is something that you want to make them aware of too. If they're having a problem, you're willing to talk to them about it. You're willing to come up with possible solutions and work with them to implement the solutions and let it go. That is the best way to deal with someone like this, other than not interacting with them at all. And they may, of course, then come back to you and say, hey, why are you avoiding me? And you've got to set a boundary. You've got to talk to them and let them know. Setting a clear boundary is going to be the only way you can really resolve this issue. So I hope that helps. Please write me an email or comment below letting me know how you're getting on with this. Thank you. Thank you, everyone who took your time to listen to me answer these questions and talk about the topic of the week. I really do appreciate you being here. And I also ask you to please like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. That does help the algorithms. It helps the videos to actually get out to other people. If you'd like to learn more about the services that I offer, please go to my website, padmalifecoaching.com. I have information there on astrology, past life regression, coaching. You can email me through the website. You can sign up for services. All of the services that I offer are there. If you'd like to learn more about me and how I became a coach, how I work through the issues that I've had in my life and how I still work through these issues, please check out my memoir, And the Lotus Opened, a memoir. This goes through my life and the traumas and gives a blueprint for how I work through my own issues. All right, that is it for today. I look forward to seeing you back here next week. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. Bye-bye.